Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 43rd edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by Disney's number one hater, Jaden.
Hi.
And PTA's number one fanboy, aka Fitzy, aka Liam.
Hello.
Yeah. I got lost. It is the 43rd, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Cool. Excellent. I'm very happy with myself. I'm going to do that for the rest of time, but if you're new around here, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and everywhere, almost everywhere podcasts are found. I can't be bothered reading the whole list off at this point, but Apple, Google, Amazon, we're there. Give us a shot, subscribe, we'd appreciate it. So yeah, as always, we'd love you to submit your questions, thoughts, reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comments section. We got one today, and that's exciting, so I'm looking forward to getting into that. But as always, we have our specific question of the show. We'll read your answers at the end of next week's episode. Our question today is, what is a movie you had to force your way through? I think we've all got answers for this. We all have experiences like this. I've got plenty, so...
You've got plenty for this show alone.
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah. But yeah, anyway, let us know. We'd appreciate that. This week we're reviewing Infernal Affairs, which opened in Hong Kong on the 12th of December 2002. It was directed by Andrew Lau and Alan Mack. It is a crime action drama, and the synopsis reads, a story between a mole in the police department and an undercover cop. Their objectives are the same, to find out who is the mole and who is the cop. Sounds vaguely familiar to me, I feel like I've seen something else like that.
Yeah, I think didn't this director like Scorsese try and do something similar?
Scorsese.
Scorsese? No.
How do you say his name?
Yeah, Scorsese, yeah.
No.
Like this indie director, yeah?
Yeah. That was such a shit bit. That was so bad.
Cut it then. We don't have time for that in the show. If it's shit, get rid of it.
I feel like it might be endearing. I don't know.
I don't reckon.
Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see anyway. Oh, God. Jaden, what do you think of Infernal Affairs?
I quite like... Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it essentially is just a less bloated Departed. And,
yeah.
And I really like that. It was more focused on, the characters and their... I mean, I guess I think the Departed and this are very different movies, but they're pretty similar at the same time. So I was going to say this is more focused on the conflicts of the characters, but I guess Departed is just in a different way. But yeah, sorry, yeah, no, I liked it. Is the baseline of that a lot?
Yeah. So this whole discussion is going to be just inherently, I think, going to come back to the Departed a lot, just by virtue of the fact that, and this is important information. I read the information about the film at the start, but The Departed, the Best Picture winning Martin Scorsese film, very famous film, was a remake of this film. So very similar stories and all that. So the comparisons are going to be strong throughout our conversation here, just by virtue of what it is. So yeah, cool, Liam.
No, yeah, I thought it was pretty great as well. It had its own style to it and everything, and it was just like a more tight version of The Departed in a way. So no, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. Are you okay? You a bit sick or tired or something?
Oh no, I just woke up recently. So
oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm just looking out for you. I want to make sure. Okay, that's fine.
Thank you, sir.
That's okay. I like this movie a lot. For similar reasons, I like The Departed. I think the story is great. I love the dynamics at play and just the whole concept and the premise of what it is of the two moles and the back and forth and we get the field operations of them trying to figure out who's who, and that's a lot of fun. We'll get into that, but yeah, I don't know. It is definitely, as you guys say, I'll reiterate that it is very much a tighter version of The Departed. The Departed feels like an expanded, director's Western cut of this film, because it is significantly longer. I think it's 50 minutes longer. And in some ways I like that more, and in some ways I don't. It depends sort of different aspects of this film they choose to expand on in The Departed, which I like, and then some other things don't quite work as well. But yeah, I don't know. I do have a favourite of the two, but we'll get into that. So yeah, I know I liked Infernal Affairs a lot. That's for sure. Can I say I like the title a lot as well? When we got the text, which bookended the film at the start and the end, of the continuous suffering, Dante's Inferno, which is unfortunately a name that has to trigger in my brain again after bloody English. But I liked all that, you know what I mean? And comparing the titles of The Departed and Infernal Affairs, this one makes a lot more sense, I think, thematically with the story they tell with Lau, and his character and what, you know, the choices he makes and then where he's left up at the end of the film. I like the consistency with that, and obviously the play on the phrase internal affairs. And so my love for this title sort of makes me think, I can't even remember why The Departed is called The Departed. Fitz, you rewatched it. Is there a reason? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I was thinking about that, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I got no idea, and I was just thinking about it because I liked this title so much. So I thought maybe I was just misremembering. I thought for the longest time that The Departed was about like dead people or something. I had no idea what it was about. I just see this movie. I'm like, is that about like spirits or some shit? I don't know. But yeah, I don't
Well, it could
understand.
be about like they're like the departed in their families, because like you know, it's all about like they Leo's dad is dead, and like Matt Damon's dad is dead, and everyone's like family is like they're trying to like escape their class from their family or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just an idea, but Infernal Affairs is a more like makes more sense, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. I think so as well. I think generally speaking, I like the execution of The Departed better. In not every way, but generally speaking. This movie, what I love about it is, like I mentioned, when we get into the first, every time like they're trying to hold that there's a, I don't even know what the hell am I trying to say? What's it called? Like a drug meeting or whatever with the cartel, and they've got a business operation going. The first one with the ties, and I think there's three in the movie. And each time that happens, and the authorities are onto them, and they're trying to listen in and watch it and figure out who's the mole and all that. I love all that side of this movie, just like I love it in The Departed too. But that is where I think this movie is the strongest. And every time you get the tension of Lau and Yan kind of coming close to each other. And I love the theatre scene in particular. The Departed, I think, has pretty much the exact same scene, if I remember correctly. But where Yan's sitting up the back, like trying to look at Lau's face, and them trying to deceive each other is really cool. I like that a lot because we intimately know both characters, but it's cool seeing them come together, figure out who each other are, and then eventually it all sort of goes to shit. So, but that's my favorite part of the movie. When we start getting to some of the more, I guess, intimate stuff in the film, like some of the other characters and like love interests, etc., and maybe other characters in the police department and the mafia, respectively, I think The Departed is much stronger in those areas. But yeah, no, that's sort of just a good general overview, I guess. Sorry, I was ranting forever. But are there any particular of the action moments or more fast-paced moments that stick out to you guys as being particularly great? Or
the first like meeting, like where they both realize that there's a mole in each other's like respective organization. I think like that was so wonderfully created, so tense, and so like I feel like I was holding my breath for like a lot of the sequence, because like the fact that police dude, I can't remember his name, the fact that he was slowly getting onto that, and like it just felt like they really started off with the bang, and felt like the tension was already like starting to boil over at that point, and like I think like that first meeting was like one of my favorite ones, like scenes, just like set pieces, and like at that point in the film, some of the stuff still kind of felt a bit weird, because it's obviously like a Hong Kong action film is not something I'm overly familiar with, so a lot of the choices were a bit weird, especially in the editing. But I feel like in that scene, it kind of
Yeah.
all like culminated together really well, and it was all, I think like that's when it was proper thrusted into the movie.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's the best sort of introduction to what this movie does action-wise possible. And I think it only builds and builds until we get to not the final confrontation, but I guess it's the final car chase where I don't want to get them mixed up, where Lau shoots the mobster Sam in the car park. Like everything there, the tension there, tracking him, and the choice itself for Lau to do that was really shocking. I'm like, hell yeah, you got him. Because I didn't remember anything like that happened in The Departed. Maybe my memory's just fuzzy on it, but I was still constantly sort of surprised by this movie. Yan getting shot in the head did not surprise me, obviously. And that scene's actually identical, pretty much, like even to the elevators, like crushing his leg and stuff. But so that was not surprising. But everything else sort of did. I forgot about the superintendent getting thrown off the building. But yeah, no, I loved all that stuff too. And I think it handles the dilemmas with its main characters really, really well. The way we see Lau constantly struggling with the morality of what he's doing, and he kind of constantly is going back and forth. His wife is telling him about this protagonist in the novel she's writing, which is clearly just a parallel to him. Is he good? Is he bad? And I loved the way it worked out for his character is the fact that, he actually made the choice to be a good cop. He shot the mobster, turned on him. He's like, yo, we're doing this. I'm going to give back Lau his identity. Excuse me, I'm going to give Yan back his identity in the third act there. But then the fact that he just can't bring himself to sacrifice, I guess, jail time for himself. You know what I mean? He continues to hold on to that selfishness that he has, which is, I want to make the right choice for me, but I'm also not willing to cop the blame for this because he knows, obviously, if Yan figures out who he is, and he's going to go to jail for that, obviously. So I thought that was cool. And then that led to the whole choice that he had to do of Lau getting shot in the head and Yan getting shot in the head. I'm going to keep doing that, guys. I'm sorry. I actually wrote down in my notes, like, I started writing them down as just Matt and Leo, just for me. So this is why I'm totally messed up on it. But I loved the Yan death scene because it was it's not what Lau intended. It was out of his hands, but it was sort of a direct consequence of himself not willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. And then, alas, in the end, he lives in continuous suffering, in continuous hell for what he's done. I just ranted again. Wow, I'm really shit this episode. I apologise. Jaden, tell me about your thoughts on the editing extensively, because I've got some thoughts too.
It's distinctly Asian.
It is, yeah, 100%. And I think it's interesting to talk about because The Departed's editing is something I've long critiqued and never liked. And this film has definitely unique editing, but I think it works for me, in a Western film, like the choices to constantly fade to black between every scene and some of the slow-mo shots, some of the freeze frames, etc., like they would traditionally bother me. But there's something about, what you're saying, Jan, the Eastern style of this that sort of just, I don't know, makes it flow for me in a way that I much prefer this film's editing over The Departed's,
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like that's like my main comment. It's just like heavily reminiscent of like other works in that genre that I've seen. Not that I've seen a lot, but like Jackie Chan movies, like Police Story or whatever one he filmed down here. Like even like Mission Impossible 2, because that had that director was from Hong Kong, wasn't he, as well? It's like you can kind of see those comparisons too. And,
I don't want to get it wrong, but like Johnny Wu or something, or Johnny Toe, was it? But hold on, I'll look it up.
Can't recall, but like like a lot of it's. I kind of always expect like that stuff to be really jarring because we're very used to this Western style of editing, but like I think in our minds we're able to pick up that in this context it belongs and it fits and like it's rather seamless, not seamless I guess, but like it's stylistically it is the best way that the movie could have gone for it, and I think like all the quick cuts and the fades to blacks, it adds to the melodrama. And I think while in a Western movie, the melodrama would not be needed. I think like it's it's an ever present byproduct in Asian films. So I think like like hamming up that aspect is very I really I quite liked it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, because I mean, I think Mission Impossible 2 is pretty bad, but yeah, 100%. It is something about it feels consistent with this film style, and with the genre, I suppose, of what this film is, and in an interesting way. Like, it doesn't. I wouldn't say The Departed switches the genre, but it certainly switches the stylistic nature of, I guess, just the where in the world it's made. Um, so that, yeah, no, I agree with you. I think this totally worked
Well, yeah,
for me for the most part. Yeah.
like that's like well the two films are pretty similar. Like I think they each stand as their own monument of filmmaking for their own like civilization.
Yeah, I agree.
So like
Yeah.
and I appreciate what they did with The Departed and how much they slowed it down and they kind of turned it into a they kind of leaned into the thriller aspect a bit more, like with that slow burn thriller. But I really enjoy like this fast paced take on it as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting how it's just sort of two sides of the same coin in that way, I suppose. Yeah. But there is something for me, there is a lot to praise about the approach this film takes with the same story in terms of, like I mentioned, I really like the focus on the two characters and how those are handled and the action pieces and so on and so forth and the climax. But there is definitely something to be said for me about the way The Departed chooses to expand on that. Especially with some of the other characters. Because when I think about The Departed, I think about how much I loved Martin Sheen in that movie, how much I loved Mark Wahlberg was hilarious in that movie, and Jack Nicholson as well. And these supporting characters are so memorable in that movie. And they need to be more memorable because of the much more significant role they play in the story compared to this movie. Like the superintendent of this movie is fine. He's there. He's got not nearly as much screen presence as Martin Sheen does. Same goes for the mob boss. Again, he's fine. He's generic, but it's unfair, of course. But comparing him to the charisma that Jack Nicholson brings to the screen, it's like this is where The Departed is a strong favorite in my eyes in that aspect. And then, yeah, I think the same critique sort of applies to the Yan's romantic interest, the psychiatrist. That just felt off to me. Do you have any thoughts on that, Fitzy? Especially because I did remember, I sort of forgot about this, but the psychiatrist is in The Departed as well, and that's sort of different.
I didn't mind it. Was that his kid? Because
yeah,
it was.
That's what I got from it.
Right, yeah, because she said 5-6 years, and then she didn't want to be with him because he was a criminal, right? Or she thought he was a criminal.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I didn't mind that. Yeah, the other relationship was okay too. I mean, it didn't bother me, so.
Sure. I don't think it bothered me either, but it was just this, it was sort of bizarre. We get the one visit to the psychiatrist and I don't know, like he clearly likes her, but it's sort of awkward. And then he goes back there and they just, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's like, okay. You know what I mean? It just feels like they are now a romantic couple, cool, and then it's over. Like I think she has 4 minutes of screen time. It's just sort of odd. And the same goes with the insertion of the other, I don't know, mother character, I suppose, the ex-girlfriend character. I feel like there was something that could have been done to maybe combine those characters or expand upon them in some way. That just felt sort of like thrown in there in the movie a little bit for me. Because if memory serves, in The Departed, I did really love when Leo sort of really has cool conversations with the psychiatrist and expands upon, his mental state, his psyche, and how it affects him. And I didn't really get that from this movie, So that's sort of another point to The Departed, if I'm going to keep going with this comparison.
Did you say Leo? Is Leo a character name in The Departed, or is that an actor?
Oh, no, Leonardo DiCaprio,
But he's not in The Departed, is he?
Yeah.
Is he?
He's the main character.
Oh, shit, he is too. Oh, my God. I thought that was Mark Wahlberg's role. No, Mark Wahlberg plays a different role, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Yeah, I forgot about that.
You
kept saying Leo, and I was like, Leo. I was like, who the fuck's Leo? Yeah, no, sorry.
That's all right. That's really funny. That's all right. But I don't think, is there a Mark Wahlberg substitute character in this movie? I don't think there is.
It was probably one of those inspectors in the meeting, or one of those higher-ups or whatever.
Yeah, it must have been. But, oh, dude, I loved him in that movie. God, he was great.
Yeah. Well, there's no Martin Sheen either in this.
The superintendent isn't, is it? Well, you
That would
watched
be,
it more recently
that
than
would
me.
be Baldwin.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Although he's kind of like both, because he's the only one that knows he's the only one that has the undercover cop's identity. So he's Sheen and also Baldwin, I guess.
Well,
So, okay.
wouldn't the Infernal Affairs version of Sheen being the one that died at the start? You know, like when they have like the funeral and like Ian like stands off to the side like in the alley and he like salutes him as they go past. Like that was the other dude that
Oh,
recruited him. So wouldn't that be that movie's version of Martin Sheen?
Yeah, I
oh,
suppose.
yeah. But I guess in a sense of with the undercover cop's relationship, he would be Sheen because he's the one that falls off the building and he's the one that keeps contact with him and all that. He's the only one that knows has his identity.
Yeah, cool. I mean, yeah, that sort of took two from that then. That makes sense. This movie does have a pretty significant divergence in its ending. If I'm not mistaken. So this movie ends with, of course, Yan gets popped in the head, like I mentioned. Really cool scene in both movies, in my opinion. But then we have the funeral. We have the sort of underlying feeling of Lau feeling like a piece of shit for this, and that's sort of where the movie ends there, with the text of the continuous hell thing coming up, like I mentioned. But so does Leo have a funeral in The Departed, Fitzy? Is that sort of a
Yeah.
does that same scene happen? Yeah, it does.
Yeah. You see Matt Damon and the psychiatrist there. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, yeah. So there is that equivalent scene. So then the actual ending of The Departed being Mark Wahlberg's attack on Matt Damon, that is just an additive scene.
Yeah, I guess so.
I feel like I like both endings maybe equally. I love The Departed ending. I think Matt Damon sort of getting his comeuppance there in that movie was really satisfying. And I love the final shot of The Departed. I think it's awesome. The rat running across the balcony. But I don't know. This movie sort of fulfilled a similar. I don't know. I don't think it's as memorable as that final shot of The Departed. That stuck with me. That final shot. So I don't think it's quite on that level. But the book ending of the text popping up is sort of equivalent to being just as satisfying of a viewing experience, I think.
I think that just comes back to the fact that, like I was saying before, like they're the same film, but they're quite different in in their cultural aspects, and that's why both endings are satisfying because of the way they handle the characters within, like that's where it's unique in the way they explore each other, and that's why Wahlberg getting beat up's more satisfying. No, not Wahlberg, Damon, sorry, but
Yeah.
but for this, like Lau being kind of redeemed is kind of satisfying because of the way they explored that throughout the film with his wife, and like you were saying before about his ambivalence in his role.
Totally, because I don't really recall if I don't really think Matt Damon, like at that point, the audience would sort of want him to redeem himself. You know what I mean? I feel like in that story, if I'm remembering it correctly, you'd sort of the comeuppance there is stronger him getting killed. But I feel like we do see more of Lau struggling with it, which makes this movie's ending sort of work for that. I especially liked the touch of them constantly tapping their fingers and the notion of if you're doing something you're not paying attention to and you're watching and you're looking at other people and you're being watched, then that person is a cop. And I loved that sort of came back to that's exactly what Lau was doing, so it's like he is a cop at heart, he is that good person, but he just can't fully get over that hurdle of the choices he's made. Cool touches. I think The Departed lacks stuff like that.
I think the ending speech from Lau that you mentioned is really great. Kind of brings around, kind of makes sense of the title as well. Like he's living in a constant hell, and I mean that's paraphrasing, but how he says all that.
Yeah, totally. This movie feels very consistent with what it's trying to say and its themes and the like. Yeah, it all comes around. Have we got any thoughts on the score? Maybe it is just a Western versus Eastern thing. I didn't really like it very much though.
No, I thought it was good. I think in the death scene, the scene where the superintendent hits the taxi and then it's got the massive melodramatic score, I thought that was like jarring at
Yeah.
first, and then I kind of liked it because it was just like very like unique, and I thought it like fit with the film as you were saying.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah. Right, I see. Yeah, because it sort of just ended up clicking with you, like the editing did for me. The score didn't quite do that for me. I thought that scene, it's funny, it's the exact scene I was thinking of that made me take note of the score. I thought, that didn't really work for me. I thought it was pretty bad personally, but because it was a lot, as you say, it was very on the nose.
I think I had a similar problem with The Departed at the start, but like the first 15 minutes, I struggled to figure out which character's which. Like from like like how he's talking to the boy at the start. I spent ages trying to figure out whether the kid that Sam was talking to was Lau or was Yan, and like for a second I thought it was Lau, but I was like, oh wait, no, it's Yan, but they're like, no, it's the other one. Like I remember like the same issue with The Departed, and like I know that's probably just an issue on myself because you never not being able to like pick up on that, but like for the first like 10-15 minutes it was a bit of hell.
No, I was the same. It took, it finally like finalized, clicked for me when I think they actually had a quick edit in there where they just like showed face to face the young version and the current version of the character.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, got it. Thank you. I needed that.
But then like at the end they cut back to it as well because like they were in the same police academy, weren't they? And like but then like cause like like how that other cop shows up at like the other mole shows up at the end, and he pops it in. Like, was he part of that group of boys as well? Like the one like that Sam was talking to at the start? Because like I think when he shows up, like that was another thing as well. Okay, right.
Yeah, he was, but I only knew that because they quickly cut to that. They show us, I think like he shoots him, and then Lau's like confused as to who the hell are you, and then they do the thing of like cut back to the meeting when they're all standing in the line, and it's like, oh yeah, it's that guy right there to the left.
But if they were part of the same group of boys and went to the same like academy, then shouldn't they have like been able to keep up with each other?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. Yeah, that guy, like, I liked that moment in terms of just for a character reason of how it took the moment out of Lau's hands. Like, he didn't want to kill him, and it just happened by virtue of the choices he's made. But, he didn't really want it to happen. It happened anyway. But yeah, no, it sort of did feel a bit random just throwing that character in there at the end, I did like it overall, but It wasn't like, oh, that was a character we knew from, 20 minutes ago or something, or whatever.
Well, we did see him because he was kind of because like when Lau got his promotion, wasn't he like the second in command or whatever?
Oh, he might have been. Huh. Yeah, I didn't notice that. That may very well be true. In which case, fair enough. Got some trivia for you here, all right? Martin Scorsese, director of The Departed, claims he was unaware that his film was a remake of this one during filming. Do we believe him?
Wait, what? How's that even? So, is that something... I don't know, I just really doubt that, because, like... I think the themes of both are kind of stuff Scorsese, like, always... like likes anyway, like the weight of sin and stuff like that. So I doubt that he wouldn't like been inspired or know about it. I don't know.
I think I don't know. I can see it. I can give him the benefit of the doubt in the sense that if you think about Scorsese, he really doesn't write his movies often anyway. So I don't even know if he ever has, to be honest. But it's not something he's known for. So he often attaches himself to scripts that sort of come to him through the studios. So I could see it being a situation. Yeah, I also find it hard to believe it wasn't told at any point. But at the same time, if he's just, I'm sure he gets scripts piled on his desk a lot. And if he's just scrolling through them and reads this one, and he's like, oh, this is a great script. And yeah, because for the same reasons you mentioned, Fitzy, it's got a lot of themes I really like. Yeah, let's do this movie. And no one ever told him, like, that the script itself is a remake of something else. I don't know. I guess that's possible.
I mean, like, as a director, like, you have to have, like, a complete awareness of everything that's going on with your film. Like, surely that's, like, the fact that this is inspired by something, or it's a remake, surely that has to be, like, knowledge number one to you.
Yeah, 100%. I'm very surprised. Especially since I don't think anyone involved in this movie's creation has a credit on The Departed. Like, often you see situations where someone gets a writing credit because it's based on characters, you know? Didn't even see that, so that's sort of surprising. Do we want to get into Spooky's review? Let's do it. Luke wrote a review for Infernal Affairs. He says, I went into Infernal Affairs with no ideas or expectations, and I was pleasantly surprised. The topless loading rifle scene was a bit weird, but okay. What I really enjoyed was that the identities of the mole were immediately known to the audience. I would have hated to see 3 different people who could have been the mole, and then the climax revealed who it was. S.P. Wong's death was great. Oh, yeah, this is the guy who got dropped off the car. Got it, yeah. Death was great, emotional, and a shock, and I felt the tension was held strongly. 6 out of 10.
What? 6 out of 10?
Oh, he did this, remember when he did this with Little Women?
Women.
Where he's like, amazing movie, 7 out of 10.
But like then, like even in like the group chat, he said, "Wow, that was actually pretty decent." Like, as it, jeez, okay.
He's just harsh. I respect it. You know, he's got his different criteria for his rankings.
The words matter more than the number, anyway. I guess.
Of course, yeah. But thank you very much. Like, to be honest, I've got no idea what he means when he says the topless loading rifle scene.
It's in like the police academy, like the training stuff. Like the training montage, like they when they're doing their jogs and like their drills.
Oh, and they weren't wearing shirts. Yes, I thought that was weird too. I totally agree with you, Luke. Sorry, for some reason, right, when you say the topless loading rifle scene, this is such a me thing, but I thought you were referring to like the way a gun was loaded or something. I don't know. I apologise. That makes no sense. Yes, I agree with you, Luke, 100%. I also thought it was weird that they weren't wearing shirts.
I was really shocked by how much I was affected by was it Kong? Was that the idiotic bodyguard? Was his name Kong? Kong?
Yeah, or Kyung, yeah, however you say it. Yeah.
I was shocked by how much I was affected by his death. Because as a character, I was like, you know, he's a nothing character. You know, he's just a bit of cannon fodder. You know, a bit of a throwaway. But then, like, you know, as he's talking and like, you know, and then like he crashed it, like I was shocked by how much that actually like affected me.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
Not to the degree that like that SP Wong's death did, but like I was surprised because you know, leaving I didn't really give a shit, but like, you know, when he was dying I was like, damn.
Yeah. I was sort of indifferent to it. Like, it didn't have no impact, but I was sort of like, I would have liked a bit more screen time with him because I just feel like we got maybe 5 minutes before that and he's just sort of the goofball character, you know, and that's fine. And his death sort of felt a bit random, the way it sort of came about, you know. He sort of, like, did he have a stroke or something? Was he just having a panic attack?
No, he got shot in the gun battle when.
Oh, right. Yeah. That makes sense. Because I forgot about that, and he's just driving and he's sweating. I'm like, what's wrong with him? Dumb me. Yeah, there you go. Fitzy, was Kyung your favourite character?
I wouldn't say favourite character, but it's definitely up there.
Top 3?
Top 3, yeah. But his death scene was it was definitely better than the equivalent in the Departed. And I thought like just like the way that, you know, the car crash and the beeping adding to the tension and everything, that was like a really good way to do it.
I really love the way they filled the world at the start, the way like the conversations they have, like when Liao goes into by the speaker, I really like it's the you know how mundane the conversation is, and it's, you know, it's such a normal interaction. I really enjoyed that way, and it reveals so much in the characters in that interaction, even though like it never directly addresses anything about their actual character. And like it's like that, and then also like, you know, at the station when they're talking about like, you know, their lunch or whatever, like, you know, like it's I really love like the mundane interactions at the start of the film. I think as the film progresses, there's less of them because, you know, it has to keep up with the story. But like in the build up and the creation, I really enjoy those aspects.
Yeah, for sure. Well, speaking of the time spent in the station and such, the film, I like it a lot aesthetically. I think The Departed borrowed a lot from just the look of the actual, like, I don't know, police station or whatever, the bureau.
No, Scorsese didn't know about this. He can't borrow anything from it.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, but that actually makes it even more funny because I think there are clear aesthetic parallels. I think, like, don't Jan and Leo wear, like, very similar wardrobe? Very similar wardrobe? Yeah. Well, they got like the same dark jacket. Yeah, weird. But no, yeah, I really like the look of it. It sort of feels gritty and sort of graded in a way that feels sort of grey. And I don't know. Yeah, it's still got life and personality to it. I like it a lot. And then plenty of cool shots. I love all the shots in the final confrontation on top of the skyscraper with who's pointing the gun at who? Lau's pointing the gun at Jan, I think, right?
No, other way around.
Is it the other way around? Okay, cool. My apologies. I haven't been mixing up the characters' names the whole time, right?
No, you've been pretty good.
Very good.
I think.
I was concerned that might have just been what I'd revealed. But I love all those shots and just seeing Hong Kong sprawling out there and well, that was put together was really cool. I like that a lot.
I think it's easy to. I mean, I guess like because they're locals, I guess they've got a different way of perceiving it. Like it's. I think often when you think Hong Kong, you're going to think of like neon saturated streets, and I really like how they didn't go with that approach and how it's. It's like you said, it is more grayed out and it is a bit more grittier than like what you'd think like a Western film would shoot there.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I must say when Lau deletes. Well, hang on. What? So Lau and Yan are sitting in the office. They think they're all G. Oh god, don't get it confused, Zach. Yan walks out and he's like, "Yo, I'm going to give you back."
No, that's
no. Lau, yes. Sorry, Lau walks out and says, "Yo, I'm going to give you back your identity." And he's like, I don't know, he's going to the other room and he's doing that and stuff. And then that's when old mate Yan sees the what do you call it? The friggin' thing that holds paper.
Folder.
The folder. Thank you. Oh, this is bad. And it's got like, and he puts together the fact that he's seen that exact folder before because of the marking on it, the drawing on it. And that's how he figures out, of course, that Lau is the mole. So he decides to leave the office at that point. And then because he's left, when Lau comes back, Lau realizes, oh shit, he knows. So now I'm going to delete his file. I'm just saying, if Yan had just stuck it out, taken his file back before he did anything, too soon, before he made any sudden movements, everything would have been okay. I think that was a poor choice on his part.
Well, wasn't there a similar thing in The Departed? Like, didn't like a pretty like, yeah, and like, cause I know watching The Departed that pissed me off, but like, cause I kind of expected it coming up in this one, I was alright with it.
What, where Leo like leaves when he could have just waited and taken his file, like a similar thing?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Not that it doesn't make sense. Like, it's a character choice. The character makes that decision. That's fine. But yeah, I don't know. Don't know if a lot of people would have done that.
Let's chuck you undercover for 10 years and then bring you out and see how you react.
Yeah, exactly. It's a big social experiment. I feel like I'd be that desperate just to give him my friggin' file back. I couldn't give a shit what that guy had done. I'd be like, yo, just give me that friggin' file and I'll be out of here. Let us reveal our final verdicts for Infernal Affairs, Jaden.
Probably an 8 out of 10. Whoa, did you?
Holy shit!
Well,
oh my god!
I think. Wait, what happened?
You right? It sounded like a sniper bullet went straight through your window.
Sounded like a Transformer soundbite.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, it did.
It's fine.
Oh my god! I mean, I'm convinced I already have tinnitus, but when I get it diagnosed, I'm going to blame you.
So, how'd you say it?
Tinnitus? Tinnitus? How you meant to say it? Tinnitus. Well, I just actually fundamentally got the spelling wrong. That's bad. Sorry, 8 out of 10. Anything? Yeah.
Yeah, 8 out of 10. Which is a lower numerical score than The Departed, but I don't think that's because it's a lesser film. I just think it's preferences and stuff like that. I think they're both quite equal in most aspects, but yeah, so just on a personal level, in terms of a numerical score, this Cop's an 8.
Cool. Fitzy?
Oh, yeah, 8 as well. 8 out of 10. I don't know what I like more, but I think this is just a really solid action film with some great themes. It's got like going on, and just really stylistically pretty cool.
Yeah, my gut tells me to go with a 7. And I sort of wonder if that's sort of unfair comparison to The Departed.
Because
Because
you're racist.
yeah, exactly. It's because I'm racist, 100%. That's definitely it. But I don't know, I do come back to like some of the side characters. I just feel like that some of them were really lacking for me. I don't know, some of the romantic connections there, and I do wish I cared more about Wong's death. I'm glad that it mattered for Luke, and that's cool. Again, maybe a combination of knowing it was coming, but still, like I just didn't really care about Wong. I wish that character had more screen presence. So I don't know. Some of the side stuff sort of does weigh down to me. I'll give it a 7, but I like it a lot.
I like that, and I hope it becomes more of a running joke that you're just racist and hate international films.
Oh yeah, for sure. So add it to the list. So I'm racist because that works with the subtitle thing as well.
Yeah.
Black and white films. What does that make me? Ageist?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
What did you give Little Women again?
I can think of some things.
Oh, I gave it an 8. So does that make me?
Damn it!
I'm like almost maybe soon could be sexist. Or no, is it because I gave Undertow a 6 and that's a very feminine film?
Yeah, I reckon you're borderline sexist, mate.
Okay, we'll go with borderline, and I'll cross the line presumably within the next few weeks.
Yeah.
We'll see what we review. All right, let's get into news chat. I'm just going to throw out some things. I don't know what's going to stick. I don't know what there is to talk about, but just some rapid fire news chat information for you if you don't know it, and we'll see what happens. So, No Time to Die, been pushed all around the place. It was meant to come out April 2020, pushed to November 2020, pushed to April 2021, now once again pushed to October 2021. So yeah, we're waiting for this movie longer. I know we've got plenty of trailers, but I'm sort of just haven't even considered that we're going to see this movie anytime soon anyway. So this isn't really that surprising to me,
Wasn't the initial release date November 2019, but then it got pushed back because of studio reasons. And then after that is when like all like the virus like stuff like happened.
That is correct. I forgot it because I was thinking of the COVID delays. Yep, you're right. That is true. Yeah. So this movie, hey, it's going to come out 2 years originally since it was meant to. It's wild. Here we go. I'll throw out there that Godzilla versus Kong. This movie's got a pretty wild story, to be totally honest with you. It's been in development forever. It was filmed in the can, I think, over a year ago, if I'm not mistaken. Like before COVID, it was done. And we still haven't had a single trailer, haven't seen a single second of footage from this movie. It was part of the HBO Max lineup that's getting released that way this year. And the release date has been moved up. This movie is coming out in March. It is mere weeks away, and we have still seen zero footage for it. And it's like a genuine, you know what I mean? It's not like some smaller film for HBO Max. This is a, hundreds of millions of dollars of budget here. This is one of their blockbusters was meant to be. So it's pretty interesting. I don't know.
Doing a Cloverfield?
Godzilla versus Kong.
No, like Cloverfield, they dropped a trailer like a month before release, and like.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, didn't they drop it the day off? Am I wrong?
I think wasn't that for 10. Wasn't that for the Cloverfield Paradox?
Yeah, that's right. So did they do it again on another Cloverfield movie?
I think the first one they dropped the trailer like a month beforehand.
Oh, okay. Wow. Yeah. Huh. That's cool. So yeah, this is a similar situation. It's pretty wild. Don't know if I care, but I haven't seen any of these monster movies. I don't think I've seen one in my life, to be totally honest.
You need to change that.
What are some other than Cloverfield? I know you've sung its praises, and I think I would like it. Are there any others? Like, are these recent Godzilla movies worth my time?
I quite like it. Like honestly, probably not. It's rather generic action trash, to be honest, probably. But like, I find them rather enjoyable, especially Kong Skull Island. I don't really like that one. That was quality. Like that one was actually
people like that.
That one was actually a decent one. Whereas the Godzilla ones are kind of just just like action, just shit. But like I still like the Godzillas are like visually pleasing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that Kong movie has a good cast as well. So
yeah,
that'll be the one I check out. I think if I do.
And the director's in Death Stranding, so check it out for Hideo as well.
Oh yes, he is. Yeah, of course.
I love how Edgar Wright's there as well, but he doesn't have anything special. He's just a distributor. Like he doesn't have any special he doesn't have any special things.
Yeah, there's no hologram Simon Pegg and Nick Frost there.
Oh, that'd been so epic.
That'd been great. Speaking of Edgar, thank you, Jan. I don't think that was deliberate, but if it was, that was fair play to you. Fair play to you. Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho got a release date of the 22nd of October this year. Still no trailer, right? I don't think so.
No, not yet.
Okay, cool. Presumably that's not far away, though.
Well, they just released a few more images in Empire, this week, so hopefully, along with that drop, that means there's a trailer soon.
Ramping up the campaign, yeah. Very cool, very cool. All right. That's it for news chat, unless we want to talk about Liam Neeson saying he's going to retire from action movies for the 80th time. So he's like, bro, you're almost 70. You should probably stop, Probably.
It's like how Clint Eastwood retired after Gran Torino, but then it was back a few years later.
Oh yeah, fair. God bless Clint Eastwood. I mean, Gran Torino is an awesome movie, but at the same time, I want him to keep making movies. He's 90. Good for him.
No, it was meant to be his last on-screen appearance, but then.
Oh yeah.
He did. Yeah, he was going to keep on doing shit behind the camera, but that was meant to be his last acting thing. But then, obviously, that changed.
Oh god, that would have been a really powerful last performance. But
and that's why it was meant to be, because of the events of Gran Torino. That's why he wanted it to be his last.
Right. Wow, that's sort of interesting actually. But then he did the mule and he did that. I don't know if there's anything else, but. Anywho, highlights of the week. Fitzy, what have you been watching?
Shattered Glass. I watched that in Shattered Glass, which is just about this based on true story about this journalist who faked elements of a story or fake stories for the New Republic, and it's pretty simple movie, but Hayden Christensen and Peter Sarsgaard and Hayden Christensen is really amazing in it. I've only seen the House movie. What's it called? Build a House or some shit. Other than Star Wars, with Life is a House. That's it. Without with Hayden Christensen, apart from Star Wars, but no, in this role he's really, really amazing, and it's pretty funny because he's he has the same kind of acting situation or arc that he does in Revenge of the Sith, where he's saying that his higher up, his editor, is betraying him by not backing him, but he's the one that's doing he's doing bad shit, and he plays the he plays the character who's trying to act innocent, but is really always putting on the front really well, and the way he slowly crumbles over the movie, and then Peter Sarsgaard kind of gets more adamant about him. He's kind of reluctant at first because they all don't like him because he replaced this really great editor, and so Hayden thinks he's he's jealous, and it just makes for a really good drama. Their casting and their performances, and it's really amazing. So
neat. I'm glad to hear that Hayden's really good in it, because I don't think he's a bad actor, but it's good to hear that he's got something out there that you can point to and say, look, he's good there, because he does get, or he has been shit on. Not so much anymore. People love him these days, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this might be his most acclaimed film. I guess Revenge of the Sith is rated higher on IMDb or whatever, but apart from that,
oh yeah.
I don't think there's much else that you can point to. So yeah, this is really great.
Little Italy, who's dying.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah. Very cool. You know, I resisted the urge to insert any sort of prequel meme into that entire thing. So.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to like say liar or something like that.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil. All right, Jaden, you go.
Curious. I kind of watched like Balls All this week. I watched Texas Chainsaw, like the 2013 version, and like that was a lot better than what the Letterboxd score is. Like the Letterboxd average is like a 1.9, which is horrendous.
Yes.
But like it's really not that bad, and I'm really actually genuinely surprised by that score because we're presented with a very different story of, you know, from compared to your traditional Texas Chainsaw movie, and like it starts off with a bit of mob justice, and then the way that comes to, you know, impact the film later on, and like it's actually rather interesting from like that from a slasher film. But then like at the same time it has like all your, you know, all the good stuff of good deaths and shitty acting and, you know, all the exploitation type of stuff, and it was actually a decent film.
Cool, okay.
Couldn't recommend it to either of you though, because both of you would probably hate it, but you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to say, I feel like this is a genre I need to explore, but apparently not.
Watch the original, but don't watch the 2013 one.
Okay. Very good. I watched Pride and Prejudice, and I liked it. The story was a bit of a slow burn for me not in terms of its pacing. I think it's quite engaging the whole way, but just in terms of the core relationship in the movie and the way it builds, and it sort of just, I'm still sort of confused by it, to be honest. And I feel like that's maybe what the original source material is going for, but it's sort of odd to me. And the whole movie, I was sort of confused by this relationship and why it's a thing. But I don't know, I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was well shot, and you know, I really liked all the sets and costumes and all that, and it's well performed. And Keira Knightley's just, I don't know, she's got so much screen charisma. She's great, and just the way she delivers lines and she's really engaging. I don't know, yeah. And then like who else? Donald Sutherland's really good in the movie too, and I've got a lot of good things to say about it. I like all the performances and the, you know, the way in which the time period is brought to life, I suppose. But I wouldn't, you know, rave personally. I wouldn't say it's the most amazing thing ever. I was surprised to click on it after I watched it on the good old Letterboxd and see that the most popular rating is 5 stars. I was like, oh, okay, cool. And maybe that just comes from a place of seeing it as an adaptation of the source material, because I had no idea it was an adaptation of anything because I'm ignorant. So
there's your sexist ticked off.
Oh, yes.
Doesn't recognise female authors.
Yeah, I'm sexist. Done. Confirmed. I've got the Holy Trinity now. So yeah, I had no idea about that. So maybe if you are aware of the story and are looking at it as this adaptation, then maybe it really stands up. It probably does, actually, because it is really well executed. So yeah, I liked it.
You should check out Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, and that'll be more up to your speed.
That actually came up as like a, you know, like a similar thing on IMDb. Comes up on down below there.
I'd actually recommend it. It's quality.
Isn't Lily James in that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think The Toman is by the same director. It's also got Keira Knightley in it. That's really great.
Oh, cool. Okay, I might have to check that out. That could be like a spiritual sequel for me. Cool. All right, as always, now we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Last week we asked you, what is your favourite aspect of movies in general? Broad question, but we appreciate these very quality answers, I must say. Andy wrote in and said, the aspect I appreciate most in movies, the editing. It's probably an element not a lot of people consider when it comes to watching films, but there's just something satisfying about putting one shot next to a different shot to tell a story. As a person who's made short films, editing is perhaps the most emotionally connecting, in quotes, part of the filmmaking process, because you can have the opportunity to build together and create a story by cutting footage and sound together. Especially considering that you went through the hard production process of shooting the film. I feel like the film editor is the person creating the film dictating the pacing of the story and inputting their own vision that a film director may not have originally in mind. Thank you very much, Andy. That is a great answer. I fully agree with you. I'm glad that hopefully we do your love for editing justice on this show. God knows I bring it up a lot. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you. And that's why you see, I always love watching, behind the scenes documentaries of films. And it's always really important when in the post-production process, the main aspect of that from a filmmaking perspective outside of just, VFX, etc., is the director working with the editor and how important that is. Because at that point, sure, the director's, he's got the performances from the actors that he wants. He's got the shots he wants, but it's all about bringing it together to tell that story like you're saying. So very, very important. Thank you. Luke Redden said, I appreciate story most, especially how ideas are worked into the storyline. I hate movies where there are no consequences for characters or there's a random device which magics anything the writers want. I think I slurred my word, which magics anything the writers want. My apologies. When twists are implemented for a specific purpose that creates discussion or a specific theme is expressed through symbols which isn't shoved down your throat, nor too subtle. You're watching a good film. It's a fine line. But I totally agree with you.
Based off that, it sounds like he might, if he appreciates story, he might appreciate Infernal Affairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he only gave it a 6 out of 10. So.
Yeah, strange that.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, Luke. I mean, yeah, we love, dude, thematically is obviously my word of the decade because I use it all the time. And what you're saying resonates with me so much. And how far do you go? And I think Wonder Woman 84 is sort of an interesting example. Fitzy will know. And I don't know. Oh, yeah, Luke saw it too. Yeah, he'll know. The fact that I think it is a situation where I appreciate what that movie is going for, but, it definitely goes on the down your throat side of things. But then, of course, you do see the too subtle aspect a bit in films as well. And I'm someone who I think if you're weighing up the two things, I prefer they go a bit more down your throat than too subtle. You know what I mean? I sort of prefer if the film, I don't want it to hammer me over the head 1,000 times, but through its dialogue, basically sort of tells me what it's going for. I do appreciate that because sometimes I just need someone to spell it out to me, All right. How do you guys feel about this question?
I don't know if this is my favorite, but it's something I've been I think casting is something that I've been thinking about, appreciating more recently, in terms of just how big a role that plays and how important casting even minor characters and stuff is in a film. I think there's a quote casting is 50% of the film, which maybe I wouldn't have agreed with before, but yeah, I don't know. I think I I'm beginning to believe. I'm a believer in the power of casting.
Sure. I mean, dude, I didn't even consider that at all. That's very specific. Yeah. No, I think you're going to make me a believer too. I'm going to have to start thinking about it for sure. Yeah, because it's easy to talk about performances and characters, but yeah, 100%. How do we get there? Would you like to go, Jaden?
If you want. I think set decoration and set design and all that kind of aspect, or just even locations here, and just anything to do with the actual set, I think is super underappreciated. And because you can't shoot a scene without a good set. I think the set really enhances everything. It enhances the acting because like we said before, the better the set, the less the actor has to make up his environment, the more they can just focus on themselves. And I think you can't light. The lighting is impacted by the set, and the quality of the production is impacted by that, and even the story can be enhanced by the set. So I'm going to go with a set design.
Great answer. Shocker, everyone. Mine's the screenplay, as always. I just, I thought about this a little bit actually, and it's a thing where I'm obviously huge into video games as well, as people may know, but
Sarcasm.
So shout out. But it's this thing of, in games conversations are had of, what's more important in the process of development, and when we talk about graphics and we talk about, in games as well, of course, direction of cutscenes and performances and score, etc. What really is important. And, I think it comes down to a game is played. Therefore, gameplay is the most important. That's sort of my logic with that. And sure, I love talking about graphics and all the other things as well. And they definitely impact the gameplay. But at the end of the day, gameplay is the core. And that's why, in my opinion, story is the core. Because at the end of the day, sure, film is absolutely a visual medium, but that is only half of it. Film is a visual storytelling medium. It is a medium which tells stories visually, you know what I mean? And that can be through any means, whether or not it's, you can do that obviously without any dialogue whatsoever, and that's awesome. But for me, it is that story aspect of a film is the way in which we consume it that is most important to me. So I don't know. That's why the screenplay is most important to me. I can appreciate if someone throws together 2 hours of just, panoramas of really cool sets and amazing cinematography. But if there's nothing to it, if there's no story being told, then I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10. That's just me, of course. But yeah, that's my answer.
So like what? When you say like the script, what element of the script do you mean? Do you mean like just like how the story changes and goes from like A to B, or like do you mean just like the how the dialogue sounds, or?
I'll go with being honed in. Yeah, well, just everything, yeah, all that, 100%. The plot, the structure of the film is a big one for me. Order of events and how we build to narrative points and plot points we want to, get to, and just general, structural things we all learn in basic English of climax, etc. Yeah, and of course how we get there being, dialogue, and yeah, absolutely. I hope that answers what you're asking. All right, that's it for Cinema Effect this week. Fitzy, what are we watching next episode?
Oh my god, it's Jason Bourne. We're doing Jason Bourne.
We're doing Jason Bourne franchise, baby.
The first one is well, let me guess. It's Bourne Supremacy. Is that it? No.
Identity, is it?
Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Is it?
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the Identity.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
That's what we're doing. Are these on Netflix?
they're on.
I think it is.
Is it? No, that was just Stan. Oh no, they're on.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. This is not very helpful to the audience. The pinned comment on the YouTube video will tell you for sure. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. Could be on Stan as well.
It is on Netflix. I just had a quick look.
Sensational. Okay, there you go.
I'm pretty sure they are on Stan as well, though. So
yeah,
Stan, please sponsor us. We're not banning you.
I don't know, man. I'm sort of backing out on Stan after Undertow.
After Undertow.
Yeah, it's a bit of a traumatic experience for me.
It's also on Foxtel. So.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And I'm sure you can find a DVD rip on YouTube if you want.
And I'm sure your auntie, your uncle, your grandma has a copy in their cupboard too. You can do that if you want to. I don't know. It can be anywhere. It can be any way you can watch it, whatever you like.
Go down to the local video store and rent it out for the night.
Those definitely still exist. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the Bourne Identity. Yeah, we're going to... what am I going over this for? I was going to say that it's the only one of them I've seen. So I'm excited to do this franchise because I haven't really experienced it properly. I'll dive back into Identity and then we'll go from there. It'll be fun. So watch along with us.
I have not seen any of them. So I'm excited.
Cool. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining me as always. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.
Thank you. We'll see everyone in the next episode of Cinema Effect. Please take care. Have a great one. And goodbye.